Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone, episode number 212 for the 10th of November 2012. Richard Saunders here with you, back in Sydney, Australia. Maybe you can hear the birds chirping outside the window. We just had a big thunder and lightning and hailstorm go through about an hour ago. Now it's all steamy. Coming up on this episode of the Skeptic Zone, it's straight back to California, where I just came from. Brian Dunning and I, and a group of skeptical friends, went on a mud cave adventure in the desert of Southern California. Skeptics in the Jeep. Skeptics in the Jeep. What a fantastic day it was. Completely worn out by the end of it, and then I had to sit on a plane for 14 hours coming home. Skeptical adventures, Skeptics in the Jeep, with myself and Brian Dunning, and a gaggle of skeptics coming up at the top of the show. After that, it's Maynard's spooky pub action. Maynard has a brief chat to a skeptical accountant, Geoff McDonald, who spoke at our recent Skeptics in the Pub here in Sydney, about being a skeptical accountant, what to look out for, a few little tips there. And after that, it's back to the hot tub yet again, the think tank in the hot tub, or the hot tub of truth as we call it, with another fine group of skeptical friends enjoying the hot tub and talking about skeptical issues. Congratulations to President Barack Obama for being re-elected. Good news. Yeah, good news for him, good news for the Democratic Party. Commiserations to Mitt Romney and the Republicans. Well, you know, when you're second, you always try harder next time. Although having Mitt Romney run for president did make me revisit a lot of information online about the true beliefs of Mormons. Now, normally we steer clear of religion on the Skeptic Zone, as you know. We leave that for other people to discuss, but boy, some of the beliefs of Mormons, they take the cake. Now, thank you to those people who have been inquiring how my documentary's coming along, The Vaccination Chronicles. And remember, it was due to listeners like you who chipped in to help me buy some new software to make this documentary. It's coming along really well. It's about 50% done now, I think. I've got another interview with somebody to speak about their personal experiences with polio in a couple of days, as a matter of fact. Well, I hoped to have had the documentary ready by the Australian Skeptics National Convention at the end of this month. It's a bit touch and go, but it will be out before long, I think. But it's coming along very nicely. And speaking of the convention, my good friends in Melbourne, the Victorian Skeptics, have advised me that there are still some tickets left. I think they may have even released some reserve tickets for the convention. James Randi, DJ Grothy, Rebecca Watson. What a great opportunity for you autograph hounds out there. Wow, get them all at once. A highlight of the convention is the fundraising dinner on the Thursday night. Check out the website www.vicskeptics.wordpress.com or www.skeptics.com.au for more information and to snap up those last tickets for the convention. I wonder what it is about a storm that brings out the birds anyway. They're going mad out there in the trees. I think I'll go out and join them for a little while. I'm going to grab a cool drink of water on this hot, steamy day. Go out and commune with the birds, while you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. Skeptical Adventures, Skeptics in the Jeep. And we're in the Jeep. I'm with Brian Dunning, cruising down some highway or other in Southern California. Where are we, Brian?
We are cruising down the 5 freeway, the Golden State Highway. We're actually just in Camp Pendleton, the U.S. Marine base on the California coast. We are just about to turn inland to go to Escondido and then to Julian and then to Anza-Borrego State Park.
And our destination are some famous mud caves.
These are a set of mud caves called Arroyo Tapiado, which is the name of the canyon that they're in. The area is all made of badlands, just sort of this rotten soil that has been eroded down into these canyons, and in many places the water sinks directly down into the soil and makes underground rivers below the floor of each little side sub-canyon, where it carves out these tunnels. Literally underground rivers. They are windy, just in the way that any river is. What's really neat is that they've got these flat sidewalk-type floors in them, so you can walk down them very comfortably. All you need is a flashlight.
I'm really looking forward to this, and it's sort of like this whole day has been billed as a skeptical adventure. You put it on Facebook as Skeptics in the Jeep, and we've got, 10, 15 people who are sort of in various stages along the freeway. We're all going to meet up and explore these mud caves.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up with about 20 people there and about 6 or 7 various Jeeps and off-road type vehicles. Should be a pretty good crowd.
I really appreciate the effort you've put into this, and it's one of the things I love about skepticism is the social aspect, and this is a great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, it's there's a whole different crowd of people who come out for these desert adventures that we do than who go to the pub nights or even to the conferences. So it's another great way to do outreach to the community, just finding another genre of activity.
Well, onwards. So, Brian, we're actually in one of these fantastic caves.
Yeah.
Isn't this something else?
It's
going caving with a comfortable flat sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's nice and cool.
It is.
Even though it's a hot desert day.
It is like mud. The dried mud, isn't it?
Dried mud, yeah.
Everywhere we look. Yeah, look at the walls are crumbling as you tap them.
What's, supposedly it's carved by underground rivers, but I've been coming here for 15 years and have never seen it change in the slightest, and I've never seen any moisture inside. Other than some of these corners, it'll look a little bit...
It looks like there's a channel of water was once there.
Never seen it flow.
Aren't we talking about many thousands of years?
Yeah, I expect so.
How old are you?
Well, 6,000, I mean, at the max.
Right?
It's quite comfortable.
6,000 at the max, right?
Whoops. There we are. I just ran into a wall. But we can make our way around this corner, and it's almost like it was designed for people to come in here.
Absolutely.
Isn't it something?
Wouldn't it be good to do a recording in here? I mean, the acoustics are amazing.
You're listening to Skeptoid.
Oh, no,
I'm Brian Dunning from Skeptoid.com.
Do you record that new each time, or do you have a...
No, it's only 4 seconds long, so there's no reason to record it each time. Plus, it sounds weird, because my voice is always a little different. Sometimes
I really appreciate
at least 5 years younger.
the use of a headlamp, which I have at the moment as we make our way around this corner here. And it's a sort of a very... It's a grey sort of beige sort of dust sort of mud colour, isn't it, Brian?
that's quite the apt description.
Yeah. Oh, now it's getting a bit narrower as we make our way through here. It's just beautiful. I really appreciate coming out on skeptical adventures because I get to come and caving.
Yeah, this is just such a unique kind of cave.
It really is. Wow. It's like meandering. It's like twisting and turning and twisting and turning.
Just like a river, yeah.
Just like a river. And it's about, 10 feet up to the...
Well, yeah, in most places it goes all the way up. Roots.
Roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming down from the ceiling. Wow, it's fascinating. Okay, onwards. Halfway through our day, and I'm chatting to Andrew Dunning. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Where are we?
We are in the plunge pool cave of the Arroyo Tapiado Mud Caves in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, California.
Can you be more precise?
No. The big room.
It's a big, it's a reasonably sized cave, isn't it? And there's a bit of natural light coming in from the top. Here with about 20 people on this great Jeep adventure, but you've been to these caves many times, I understand.
Indeed. Yeah. So, back in the 1970s, I believe, a man named Dwight Carey was doing his thesis in geology for UCLA, and he researched thoroughly and explored much of this canyon and named most of the caves.
Okay.
So, and there's one of the caves, which we're going to visit later today, is named after him. It's called Carey's Big Mud Cave. It's the largest cave in the area.
Cool. Well, I've never had lunch in a cave before, Brian. This is a first for me, I must admit.
This is a great spot. In fact, every time you come here, if there's anyone else in this canyon, they're always eating lunch in this cave. So you come here with a small group of friends, you come in here, then you find a larger group of friends already taking it up and eating their lunch. Of course, the only alternative is then to go eat outside in the heat.
No, this is like an air-conditioned lounge in here, although we are sitting on the mud floor.
I'll take it, though. It's nice.
So Brian Dunning is streaking ahead of me here in this new cave we're in. What's this one called, Brian?
This is called Carrie's Big Mud Cave.
Well, it's big and it's muddy. I'll give it that. And we are seeing spiders. Wow, that's a big one.
That is a spider.
Look at that.
I spotted the first wildlife.
Wow. Isn't it? Oh, there it is. It's like a tiny daddy long legs with short legs.
Oh, no, I think it's a different...
I wonder if it's blind.
Wouldn't need eyes here. Maybe. All right, we'll go around this corner here. Narrow channel. What have we found?
Huge one there.
Another spider?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Right there.
Oh, yeah. Just like the other one.
Okay.
What can you tell us about the native wildlife here, Brian?
Not a damn thing.
It lives here.
Well, I've only seen the spiders. I wonder what the prey animals are.
Oh, the spotlight, that's so cool.
Oh, there's another one.
So, Rick, being a skeptic, you see you end up in this godforsaken cave.
Yeah.
We're quite pooped. That was quite a long walk through those.
It was a nice walk. I enjoyed it.
It was really enjoyable, but it's a lot more of a workout than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah, well, you got to duck and you got to bend, and it's involved. But I got a nice glisten going, Richard.
I do.
And
you do. I do.
Shit.
Whoa.
We just had a little cave-in over there.
Oh, cave in.
Are you okay?
Yeah, we're good. So,
All right.
disaster averted.
Yeah.
I just had it with his hand. And
That's one of the joys of caving, isn't it?
That's right, the
Buried
surprises.
the body.
Yeah. Well,
Did you guys see the spiders?
Yeah. Turn off the headlights. You see
I know,
the
yeah.
sunlight coming in. Turn off
So what?
That way you pop up.
There's a sort of a plan to go up to Death Valley at some stage, a skeptical trip to Death Valley.
oh, that'd be brilliant. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, we should do that.
You and Brian.
What show?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
When you...
It's a wonderful place. Yeah.
Oh,
So Brian, this is one of your favourite places to come to, these caves, yeah?
Yeah, I love these caves.
Yeah.
Been coming here a long time.
Who hasn't been here before apart from me?
Me.
Most people. Wow, that's fantastic. So it's really a wonderful day out.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. This one is less walkable than I remembered. This is less walkable than the very first one.
I think this is my favorite of the one. I mean,
Those big, huge holes in the ceiling are really neat.
vent behind you. Just like being able to climb around is really good.
Well,
Cave of the day.
Well,
think that's
the
one.
last one we're going to do is Murcielago, which is a walk up a canyon. It's probably, what, Andrew, half mile? Andrew?
I don't know where it is.
It's a long, hot walk to get up the canyon, and the cave is it's a jungle gym. The entrance is super narrow, and you laugh and you say, that's not even a cave, are you kidding me?
It's the best
And you
cave.
get inside, and it's basically a jungle gym. It's not very long, it's maybe 100 feet end to end, and it's got the straight section at the end, which is kind of cool. About 20 feet, straight as an arrow. Just this completely, it's like being inside the pyramid, this really high, narrow corridor.
I think I'm breathing more dust than
So-
oxygen.
That's the last thing we're going to do.
So at last we almost back home from a wonderful day in the mud caves, but Brian, I must tell you, I'm feeling my age. I'm pretty bruised and battered and sore, but it was well worth it.
It was a lot of fun. Like you, I'm feeling it. My collateral damage was bonking my head a bunch of times and scraping the top of it off. Other than that, an inability to walk because my legs are sore. But it was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you very much for putting it together. It was labelled as Skeptics in the Jeep, and we had a good mixture of skeptics there, but we had it could have been anything, really. It was just a good, fun day out.
Yeah, often we try to mix up riding in the cars more. People, at each stop, people would trade seats and everything, and we didn't do that this time, though. Everyone kind of stayed in their own car, and so there wasn't as much socializing as we often get.
Well, we look forward to the next Skeptics in the Jeep to destinations unknown. But for now, I've got a 14-hour plane flight ahead of me, and I'm going to be sleeping every hour of that 14 hours, I think.
I'm going to be sleeping at the same time, too.
I Ein großes Hallo an alle deutschen Zuhörer des Skeptic Zone Podcasts. Wusstet ihr, dass es auch in Deutschland einen Skeptikerverband gibt? Für weitere Informationen über uns und das Skeptiker Magazin besucht www.gwup.org. Ich wiederhole, www.gwup.org. Und unsere offiziellen Facebook-, Twitter- und Google-Plus-Seiten.
Here's Maynard's spooky action at a distance.
Look, we're here in the soundproof booth that is part of the Skeptics in the pub. It's a little stairway here, so you're probably going to hear people going backwards and forwards, looking for financial advice from our guest tonight, Skeptics in the pub. What are you, sir? What are you? Who are you?
Geoff McDonald's my name. I'm a barrister, I'm an accountant, I'm a liquidator, I'm a trustee in bankruptcy, and generally a good bloke.
Wow. And of course everyone's going, what's this got to do with skepticism? Why are you addressing skeptics in the pub? We don't normally see many accountants up there, auditors.
Yeah, fair comment, because
it's numbers. It's either black or white, so people think.
To a degree. One of the subjects that I spoke about was the auditing standards that require auditors to be sceptical. It's actually part of their obligations, and it's part of what the Australian Securities Commission expects of auditors, and that is to be sceptical.
And how do they express that? How do they ask for you to be sceptical in a phrase?
It's part of the actual obligations, the auditing standards and the requirements. So it's a policy or practice statement covered by legislation. It's quite a tough legal imposition on auditors.
You said the next big target for scamsters has got to be superannuation societies, superannuation organisations here in Australia, because they are the people who have a lot of money and will have a lot of money from people's contributions in the near future. How would you target them? You'd say, I've got a 20% investment or something like that.
Because the large organisations are corporate, they've got their teams, they are going to be less susceptible to any scam. In fact, they would be a good. If you have a good idea, they would be a good organisation to approach. That's only part of the sector. There is the mums and dads self-managed super funds. That's the other significant component, where there is millions and millions of dollars already in those funds, and they'll be added. They're added every year. It's not next year's story. It's last year's story, this year and next year. That every year 9%, or it's going to move up to 12%. But a big percentage of all of the staff's money, and including the proprietor, has to be tucked away for the future, and it's there for the taking.
Okay. I just have some people walking through our studio here. It's part of the ambiance we get. Now, the last question, as a sceptical investor, you said ask questions and look for inconsistencies. What would be the 3 best questions you should ask that will really nail down an investment for someone who's a little bit naive? You can really punch it in there.
Okay, that is a very difficult question, actually. The types of investments will vary. So at the moment, actually, you're going to see something quite peculiar coming up. There's a big court case running at the moment about the forestry investments, and I think it's 30,000 investors. So there's a large number of people. It's in the I think it's Victorian Federal Court of Supreme Court. It's big bucks, big bucks, and the banks funded people into investing in these forestry schemes, and they all went broke. They all busted, and people owe money to the banks, and people are saying, I don't want to pay you back. I didn't get what I thought I was going to get, and the banks are saying, well, we didn't promise you anything. Great Southern promised it,
So who should have done the due diligence here? Is that what the court's trying to work out? Is it?
That's part of it. But what the banks are saying is, we weren't involved, but when you have a look at the paperwork given to these people, the argument is now swung around, and the people are saying, all of these ASIC rules about giving us massive amounts of information on the prospectus and all these documents, they're too confusing. You're giving us too much information. ASIC, it's your fault. ASIC, you've told these companies to give us so much information that we've all got confused and we didn't know what the hell we're doing. So it's the company's fault for complying with ASIC's obligations to give us so much information.
So this is an argument for deregulation, isn't it?
It is. It's swung around. It's going backwards. And I could see these companies turning around and suing ASIC and saying, well, we complied with your obligation to have so much rubbish in these reports that now people can't understand the damn things, and they're kind of suing or defending our cases on the basis that it was all too confusing. So stay tuned for that one.
Wow.
I could see that being a really interesting argument, getting ASIC joined into it. But look,
and there's the Australian Securities
and Investments Commission, ASIC, yeah. But those types of investments in listed public companies, they are highly regulated, as I just gave an example. And there's prospectuses, there's lots of pieces of paper. Look, if you want to take out an insurance policy on your home, you've got to get a product disclosure statement, you've got to get all this bloody rubbish, and people don't read it. I mean, it's there to be read, but people don't read it. But anyway, if you're looking at those sorts of investments, there's lots of paperwork. All I can suggest is I suppose you use some basic rules of thumb. If it sounds too good, too good to be true, that's a bit of it. But read the document, although, as I've just said, it's too confusing. Just some gut feel.
That's the old thing, is that, like, greed trumps common sense, doesn't it? And that's when people get in trouble.
Yeah, very much. And that's the defence that these banks are saying. They're saying, look, these people went into these deals, they got their tax deduction, and that's what they were driven by. And they're now complaining because it didn't work out. That's not our fault. But and that's the greed thing. Although greed, as you said, the greed, but peer group pressure is another thing. And I think that's a underrated influence, because
it's certainly how they prey on the pensioner market sometimes, and retirees.
Definitely, but
because they'll go and address a group of them at once.
Yeah, that's certainly the peer group pressure amongst physically in front of people, but I'm also thinking the peer group pressure of saying to people, well, are you getting 15% like everyone else, the unnamed, unclassified, unidentified others who are making money? And of course, when times were good, people were making 12% or so, they're getting good returns. So of course, for someone to say, well, are you getting an average return of 12%? I can get you a good return. Are you missing out on this? People are getting on the bandwagon, and without necessarily having everyone together and everyone having to turn to each other and look at each other, it's just this unknown investor that they're getting these great returns. Don't you miss out? That's not happening. There aren't any great returns at the moment, so people aren't feeling like they're missing out because there aren't any around, and everyone knows that. So that's kind of steadied things at the moment. But certainly, to the extent that there's a private placement, an opportunity to invest in a private business, that's where the comment I made today is ask the questions, but look for consistency in the answers. And I gave a real basic one. I think I said to you before, do you have some financial statements? Do you have some figures? And when they say, well, they're not ready yet, you think, well, okay, there's the first thing. Well, how could anyone possibly seek to raise money and not have some numbers? So there's your starting. There's your gut feel automatically saying, well, hold on a minute, something's wrong. And you can just test them. And they're pretty basic questions.
Now, have you got a little desk lamp and one of those special visors that they wear for accountants? That we see in the old movies. Have you got the rolled-up sleeves?
So like in that Monty Python movie, on the accountancies.
Yeah, where they end up sailing off the end of the world because they didn't do their due diligence.
That's it. Now, I must say, I haven't seen many of that. I do have my desk lamp because you need a bit of light, but no, I haven't seen those things for a while. Haven't seen those things.
Look, thanks for being our special guest tonight, Geoff, the Skeptical Accountant.
Thank you, Maynard.
The Skeptic magazine, the journal from Australian skeptics. Subscribe online to the world's second oldest skeptical magazine. Visit www.skeptics.com.au and click the publications link. You can also find there over 30 years of back issues free to download. The Skeptic, the magazine from Australian skeptics.
Join us now for Drinking Skeptically in the Think Tank.
And it's welcome again to the Californian residence of Brian Dunning, and we're in the hot tub of truth. Cheers, everybody! Thank you. Have a drink.
My cheap can of Bud Light doesn't clink very effectively.
No, it doesn't.
With everyone else's high-quality beer bottles.
So we're still here in the hot tub of truth as we were last week. We haven't left. As a matter of fact, I've gone 3 shades of wrinkly prune.
My skin's coming off.
Again. And, we have the same crew as we did last time, although Lisa has actually left. I think she's run to get some more wine or beer for the rest of us. I'm not really sure what's going on.
I sure hope so.
Just to remind everybody from last week, let's introduce ourselves, starting with you, sir.
I'm Brian Dunning from Skeptoid.com.
Why did I know? And?
Hi.
Oh, you got to introduce
What's
yourself.
your name? I'm Erika Dunning.
From?
ErikaDunning.com.
Maybe one day.
Okay.
I'm Rachel Bloom. Most of you probably remember me as Adelaide in the Manhattan Beach Middle School 8th grade production of Guys and Dolls.
And Rachel does stuff.
People are still
Rachel
talking
does
about
stuff.
it.
Does stuff on YouTube. Wonderful
And I do stuff on YouTube, and I write for Robot Chicken.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm Jen Brown from SkepticallyPwned.com. Yeah.
Where false claims get kicked in the nuts.
That's right.
I'm John Rael, also from SkepticallyPwned.com, the pwner himself.
Yeah. How do we know that's not a false claim?
I'm
Fair
Penny
enough.
Chan from Skeptically Pwned and also Skeptic Zone.
Yay! Cheers, everybody. Again.
Clink.
So, yeah, it's wonderful to be back here in your hot tub of truth, Brian Dunning.
Thank you.
This is, the 3rd year running we've done a hot tub of truth, I think.
It's an important tradition. I think it's really the glue that holds the whole skeptical community together.
It is.
Yes.
It is, and we raise a glass to Maynard, who would love to be in the hot tub of truth.
I don't know what's up with that slacker. He always, every time I invite him to join us, he ignores me.
Maynard's spooky action.
At a distance. So, John, let's have a talk about your endeavours and your videos.
Little talk. This is how I came to know Rachel Bloom herself here, is by emailing and harassing her to be in my video, because...
Oh, you're the one.
I'm the one, because I thought she was cool, and I wanted a cool person in my video. And the funny thing about Rachel showing up, I don't think she knew why she was there. We were halfway through the shoot, and she's like, so what is this? Like, are you starting a pilot? Is this a new series? Is this what's going on? I'm like, what? This could be a really terrible thing you just walked into. We could be awful people.
No, I read the script, and you said that Adam Savage was in it, so I was like, okay, you're not going to murder me. And I followed you on Twitter already.
Not mutually exclusive.
I didn't know it was already a thing, and I apologize for that.
Oh, no problem. I
dearfully apologize.
When she showed up for my video, it's because I wrote her a check.
That's true. I was like, well, I'm poor.
So, John, what's the philosophy behind your site? Let's
Literally,
get into it.
I don't know about philosophy so much as a formula, because our philosophy is, of course, with the skeptic method, we follow the preponderance of evidence, and so those are the theses that we support, that we, project out there, are the conclusions of better, smarter people than ourselves. What we do, our formula, is we take a genre of BS, such as ghost hunting, such as bullshito, and we do a sketch around that idea. And then I run in, kick it in the junk, explain why it's all wrong, and run out of there. So that's it. I'm just standing on the shoulders of geniuses. Not according to P.Z. Myers. I do not think that I am making a thesis or making essays. I am not constructing an intelligent argument. I'm just doing a joke based on smarter people than myself. So P.Z., I'm not writing a thesis.
How many of these videos have you done now?
This will be the 6th one. We have 2012 coming up, which has in it, this video has Rachel Bloom herself. Mm-hmm. We have Adam Savage.
I requested $5 million in my own dressing room.
And I promised it to her eventually. We have
for nothing.
Yes.
Adam Savage.
Adam Savage. We got him in it, so we'll look for that. We have DJ Grothy.
DJ?
Yeah. We have Jared Kaufman of The Odds Must Be Crazy.
How did you get those guys?
I just told them. A funny story with Adam, I emailed his lawyer, I emailed his PR person, I emailed his agent. Nobody would get back to me. They were all like, yeah, he's going to pass on this, blah, blah. I finally found his personal email address, sent it to him, and He's like, sure, sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Swing by, swing by San Francisco sometime.
And I think the important thing you neglected to mention is you don't have Brian Dunning.
I have not gotten Brian Dunning yet. I've sent him a couple interview requests in the past, but...
well, he's a hard man to get hold of.
I know. Always hanging out in his hot tub.
Schedule.
Yeah.
You do have Penny Chan in it, though.
We do have Penny Chan.
I've heard about her.
I was Rachel's stunt double.
She was.
She was.
Is that right?
Are you joking?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Well, when Rachel had to bounce, we had to put somebody in there, and so...
No, but you were like, go stand on the mark, and I'm like, I'm about a foot taller, and I don't have red hair.
And she pushed up her cleavage, and that was it.
Rachel doesn't do her own ass scenes.
No, I need an ass double. Sorry.
I will do my own... Well, okay, that was... I was about to get really dirty, and this might be for children, so...
And I'm just sitting right here.
Well, I must say the Skeptic Zone is usually a G-rated show, but, within those confines.
You're in 8th grade. It's time to get real.
Yeah.
Time to learn about the birds and the bees, kid.
Well, I was getting to all our guest stars. Jen just reminded me I left out Mr. Deity himself. Will be in there. Yes. As
This is all in the same video?
All in one video. Yeah. It's like 6 minutes now. We're trying to get it down shorter than that because it's kind of gotten out of control, basically.
Edit out Adam.
Good solution. No. No, it's kind of gotten out of hand. We have a rough cut right now, which I'm dying to show you guys after we get out of the hot tub. But
you could just fast forward it.
That's done.
That way you don't have to edit it, but it's like down to 2 minutes. That's how I do it.
Brian, I discovered that Mr. Deedy, Brian Keith Dalton, you and I were all born in the same year. Does that say something?
It says that I look a hell of a lot better than either one of you.
Zing!
You just got pwned.
I did. Skeptically pwned.
Did Rachel just say pooned?
Pwned?
That's a different show.
Pwned?
That's a different show.
Pwned?
Yeah.
Pwned?
It's like owned with a P.
Pwned.
Technically, you're not even supposed to pronounce the P, but otherwise people don't know you're referring to the purposeful misspelling unless you do pronounce the P. This is a huge nerd debate that happens every time I release a video.
Oh, Jesus.
So you're not supposed to pronounce the P because it just means owned, but it's misspelled. It's like...
Yeah, right.
How do you
the subtext of all those comments is like, I'm so sad. Someone told me I'm so sad in my life.
Yeah.
We spent an interesting afternoon with you, Erika, your dad, and me in the living room just now, watching about half of Ancient Aliens Debunked, and you were enthralled by it. You loved
awesome.
Ancient Aliens Debunked.
It's
Who
the
did that?
It's the 3-hour documentary by Mr. Christian.
White.
What's his name?
Chris White.
Chris White, the Christian.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what? I mean, we're watching it, and for the most part, it's just like, this guy's incredible. He's just gone through it with a fine-tooth comb,
I heard towards the end it gets a little weird, though.
There are some weird parts in it, but I alluded to this a few weeks ago on the Skeptic Zone. Don't let that stop you from watching it.
Oh, no.
When it's good, it's just good.
It is very good.
Very good.
His writing and the arguments that he makes
are devastating. In a way.
And they're very well written.
A funny story. I just discovered this 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I was like just surfing online, and it popped up, and it was on Skeptic.com. And
that's where I discovered it.
Yeah, it's this guy who made this 3-hour documentary debunking ancient aliens just in his free time on his own, and it's on YouTube the whole 3 hours.
Nice.
But it's extraordinary. The length I mean, we were just watching the one about the art, the crucifixion and the flying UFOs and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And the way he deconstructs and shows you what's really going on, it's just...
He does a tremendous amount of research, too, because he two of the subjects that he did that we watched already, Crystal Skulls and Puma Punku, are episodes that I did on Skeptoid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because 80% of the research that we both did was the same. We came up with the same stuff. But he also came up with resources that I never did. And I put a lot of work into my episodes, and he didn't. He did a very good job.
Yeah.
I want to hear what Miss Dunning's favorite part was so far.
Well, I like how the segments aren't like 3 hours long in themselves. They get the job done, but they're not extremely long.
Yes.
But they're not too short. It's like, and this and this and this, and we're moving on now.
You mean they're not like Skeptoid, which is...
yes, they're not 2 minutes long and get to half the points
Which
covered.
is 10 minutes stretched into 2 hours.
She got you.
Get to the point.
Yeah, that's rare.
Criticism.
This is the same Erika Dunning who was mentioned on the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. Oh, look, she's embarrassed.
Why was she on Skeptic's Guide to the Universe?
Amazing
her
literary work.
Tell us what Erika.
No, I'm gonna hide more.
What's the quote?
What's the quote?
Tell us the quote.
It was a fantastic quote. Brian, maybe you can tell our listeners what that wonderful quote from your daughter was.
You can do magic with science, but you can't do science with magic.
Oh, that's really good.
Erika, that's a wonderful quote.
That's a really good
well
quote.
done.
I feel love.
That was the Ed Sullivan version of Miss Dunning's quote.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that in the car.
Really? I'm so glad.
Talking about it vis-a-vis me making fun of you. That's how we talk about things.
My brother does a great Brian Dunning. In fact, my brother did a whole segment on my show once about he made up some silly story and he called himself Brian Donut. I'm Brian Donut from whatever.
The best one I've heard was from Captain Disillusion.
Yeah?
He did one of his videos where he debunks YouTube videos.
It was the last one he released,
laser
right?
gun, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a whole quote from me, and he read it doing an impression of me, and then he emailed that to me and said, "Hey, would you rather I use this, or do you want to record it yourself?" I recorded it and I said, "Please use whichever one you want," and his was quite good.
Yeah?
I thought I was listening to myself.
Nice.
No, really?
Yeah.
Shout out to the captain.
So embarrassed that
You're
I
in
actually
spirit.
sound like that.
It's a good
Dude, that
SNL
guy-
audition impression.
That guy is so vicious.
That was Tom Cruise. Now here's Brian.
He's the man.
He's a
a
great
demon.
guy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are this close in our Dropbox, continuum to eventually be working with that guy across the country.
Oh God.
That's my hope.
And he's
Dropbox.
Yeah, 2015. I'm going to be working with Captain Diss. That's my goal.
As a video
actor.
Yeah, that guy's the man.
He's a nice bloke too.
You interviewed him twice.
I have, and a couple of times ago, I was on a judging panel with him for the talent show, and we had a great time. Oh yeah,
Nice.
I wanted to be in the
stop?
talent show.
You wanted to be in the talent show.
Yeah.
What was your talent?
What's your talent? Good question.
I was going to perform Jimmy Stewart's monologue from the end of Rope.
Yeah, that would have gone down well.
You weren't gonna.
What is that look? That was not a look of great approval.
You would have a better chance singing and dancing.
All right.
Yeah, Brian, you weren't going to do your singing, your glottal, what is it, double voice?
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Sing?
Tooth and throat singing.
Don't do the throat singing.
That was actually the first time you sent me a video of you doing the tooth and throat singing, and you were like,
The
"What
first
do you
time
think?"
I sent you a video?
Yes.
The others you don't want to mention.
If I actually did that, then that was definitely drunk texting or something.
You put it on my Facebook, I think.
Shut up. Did I?
Yeah, you did. You were like, "Hey, here's a YouTube video for you,"
Oh my
and it was
God.
like you doing tooth and throat.
Okay, that was probably Ambien email.
This whole thing started with us wanting to know more about your website, Skeptic.
Oh, yeah, it's,
and I don't know where we've gone since then.
I would like to hear a rundown of all the episodes. I remember the first time the first time I met you, I think, was when you contacted me about your Bigfoot video, Brian.
So the rundown is, so far we have done John Edward, our psychic one. We have done Bigfoot, our Bigfoot one. We have done Ghost Hunters, which was a two-parter, and which I am so proud of that people still go to the video and type comments like, "Fake, these guys aren't for real, these guys aren't the real deal Ghost Hunters."
Tell me about
Well,
it.
that's good that they know that.
And it's like blatantly a sketch, but they still think we're trying to be real.
That one's really funny.
Yeah. After that, we did our Chi Bullshido.
That's a good one. I like that.
That was a good one. That was really good.
That's probably our technically most superior one to date. And now we're doing 2012, the Mayan Apocalypse, which we have to finish
Mythbusters drinking game.
before. Well, we did do it,
before December 21st.
Before December 21st.
What's the hold up on the 2012 video?
Literally, we have to do some special effects on it, which Jen here is in charge of.
And
we just need to do a couple quick reshoots of just some small stuff.
That's great.
Richard, one interesting thing coming up on Skeptically Pwned, I'm actually giving my vote away this year. Well, I mean, I gave it away 4 years ago, but I'm giving it away again. Hopefully to Rachel, if she's available on Tuesday.
Yes, which means that I vote twice.
Yes.
Because I can vote for him, and then I can vote for myself, because I already plan on voting.
What you do is you go to the polls, and you sign in a voter assistant, and there is no protocol, there is no restrictions. I could sign in you as my voter assistant and hand you my ballot. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's open to rorting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did this 4 years ago for the first Obama election, And that's actually how I got into skeptical filmmaking. I made a little documentary about it. Penn Jillette saw that. He made a video about my video.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I should make more stuff.
Oops, sorry.
And that's kind of how it began.
Although I was saying there is some, I liked the point that you were making, which is like, what if you can? What was it? It's like if you can. There's different punishment for giving your vote away rather than...
Oh, yeah, if you try and sell your vote, if I was to sell my vote, even, for $1...
no money can be exchanged for it.
No money or alcohol.
Yeah.
That alcohol...
Specifically alcohol.
Yeah,
so
alcohol...
if after we get out, you give them beer. You can't just go up to some drunk guy and, give him
But I'm pretty sure I could give you weed for it. But alcohol is on the books because that's how they used to bribe people to vote back in the old days.
Yeah.
That's the same situation as prostitution. You can give it away for free, but you can't
which
sell
is
it.
exactly what Penn Jillette said.
Yeah.
And that's when I said,
Right.
can you give a vote away? And we went to the polling booth, and sure enough, you can give a vote away.
Yeah.
But they call it voter assistance.
You sign in a voter assistant, I go into the booth with you, and I hand you my ballot. That's it.
There's something called the Condorcet winner. Condorcet was a French mathematician, and the Condorcet winner of an election, when you have more than 2 people running, 3 or more people running, is the one winner who would beat every other candidate in a head-to-head runoff. Now, you don't always have a Condorcet winner, but if you do have a Condorcet winner, then that's the guy who should win. Now, you can go back and look at some of the past historical U.S. elections, Bush versus Gore, for example, where the Condorcet winner did not win. Now, that's one of the fallibilities of this economic law. If you have a system where people can simply vote for 2 candidates, or all that they want, you can check yes or no on all the candidates, or you can give a score to every candidate, like 1 through 10.
This sounds like a Skeptoid episode.
Yeah. It is a Skeptoid episode.
Yeah.
So you're saying so in theory it's like not only pitting Obama versus Romney, but pitting Obama versus Roseanne Barr and pitting Obama against all the...
And now the thing is that when you do that, if you have Joe Blow that we've never heard of is on the ballot, we tend to give him kind of an equal vote. We say, well, okay, that guy's probably reasonable, and if it was a ranking system, for example, 1 through 10, you would give him a 5. Because you don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And they call that the nursery effect, which is where candidates who don't merit a decent score get a decent score. Whereas the 2 candidates who are, assuming that that Romney and Obama are both qualified to be president, they both should probably get a pretty high score, and Joe Blow Nobody should probably get a low score. However, in this system, the average voter is going to give Joe Blow Nobody a 5, and they're going to give either Romney or Obama a 0 or a 10, depending on which one they like.
Got it.
So there's a whole lot of interesting science behind this.
It comes down to mathematics at that point.
Yeah.
So Joe Blow has a higher chance of winning.
Joe Blow can actually do well because Obama and Romney will
because people don't hate him.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The
same way that people hate Obama.
Elections, and this is stupid, but sometimes I feel like we always vote for the person, or by and large, the American public wants the candidate who could physically best the other one.
I agree.
Right? I mean, think about it.
But at first, I was originally liking Romney because he's the handsomest of all the candidates.
No, you're joking. Really?
Yes, he's good looking.
Who?
Because that's what people are saying about women is that they vote for whatever candidate is handsome, and people who are saying that have been labeled misogynist. So it's interesting to actually hear a woman say that.
Dude, I got to be honest though. After hearing the debate, I was like, whoa. That is the first, in my lifetime, since I've been born, that is the first Republican candidate I've ever heard who speaks more fluidly than the Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is smooth, he's big, he's powerful, he's handsome.
He speaks French.
Well, that's it. That
settles it, Richard.
See, I don't trust good-looking people because I associate them with the surfers who made fun of my talent show acts.
That doesn't make true because you trust me.
Rachel.
Well, there's a message there for
you. Who says I trust you?
Rachel, let's be honest. Your talent show act was kind of...
Shut up. It was great. I'm not talking about good looking. I'm saying who could be... I mean, because I feel like we want somebody... if you think about George Washington...
But I feel like Obama would be a little, like
Jefferson,
snappier and faster. Like, in a boxing match, you mean?
Obama...
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Obama could have definitely taken out...
he's a little faster.
Whoever the last guy was. McCain.
Yeah.
McCain
but I think it'd be a good match between Romney and Obama.
One-armed
That'd be
man.
a fight worth seeing.
Yeah.
Well, what a great time it's been for this second hot tub, Brian. Thank you very much for hosting us all.
Most welcome.
And I want to thank everybody who's taken part in the wonderful hot tub of truth. And we raise a glass to absent friends, because I know I was looking on Facebook earlier and I said we're going into the hot tub. And I had so many people saying, I wish I was there. So cheers, everybody. And from the hot tub of truth in beautiful California.
Yay!
Yay!
Hallo aan alle Nederlandse luisteraars. Op dit moment bent u aan het luisteren naar de Skeptic Zone. Voor wetenschap en kritisch nadenken. Voor meer informatie ga naar www.skepticzone.tv.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone on this hot and steamy day here in Sydney. I sort of wish I was back in that hot tub of truth. Oh yes, that was a lot of fun. What a good time I have with my good friends, the Skeptics, especially with my good buddy Brian Dunning. What a clown he is, but what a good man. On next week's show, a brief report from me about the recent Mind, Body, Spirit, Mind, Body, Wallet festival here in Sydney. And I guess I wouldn't be out of place in thinking that there'll be some more Maynard as well. And Maynard will be at the convention in Melbourne. I can't wait. A Maynard at a Skeptic convention is like it's like when you combine milk and chocolate and get chocolate milk. That's very deep, isn't it? You know, I'm going to think about that for the rest of the week. But until then, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.